guys, Fishy here. This video is basically gonna be a yap sesh on a very good night because the trailer dropped like almost 2 weeks ago and I'm a tad late to the party. I have more evidence proving that Marc's episode is still Heartfixer, and I'll also talk about more theories that I have about it. Just for clarification, Marc's episode hasn't been confirmed to be Heartfixer, so most of this video is purely based on intuition and facts that don't connect that well. With that being said, let's begin. I'm just gonna start off with the evidence that Marc's episode is Heartfixer because there's only one piece that I could actually find, and I just want to get it out of the way first. Okay, so hear me out. I might sound a little delusional here, but just listen. First, you need to go to the Miraculous Ladybug Wiki fandom, find the Season 6 source, scroll all the way down to trivia, look at the second point, and you'll see Pierre Doublier. Pierre Doublier wrote Daddy Cop, Vampigami, Mr. Agrest, The Ruler, Heartfixer, Queen of the Dread Zone, and Secret Protocol. Now I want you for a second to think about the two titles I just emphasized, The Ruler and Heartfixer. Now this is where the delusions come in, okay? I know this is a terrible place to get my information, but on X, it says that he particularly likes the characters Nathaniel and Marc, along with Zoe and Sabrina. Now let that sink in for a second. Since Marc hasn't received his own episode yet, wouldn't it make sense that a writer that connects with him would end up in the creation of Marc's episode, aka Heartfixer? Let that sink in. Also, Vampigami was Jularose based, and The Ruler was Marcaniel based. If you wanted to, you could say Daddy Cop was Zoe Brina based. So Heartfixer also would probably most likely be a romance, or at least similar to a romance, but I'll get into that in a little bit. That's all the information that I had for stuff that was factual, and now I'm gonna go into stuff that intrigued me. I guess this next one could still be considered a fact, but if you stay on that same source and scroll all the way down to Heartfixer, and then look to the left, you will see Ranverse Cores. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And right underneath that, it says Heartbreaker. Being a heartbreaker is the exact opposite of being a heart fixer, but in the end, they do meet in the middle because if you break a heart, you gotta fix the heart, you know? They still mean different things though, so it's still strange. I feel like the villain would do more good than harm, because if it was Heartbreaker, that would just be a Dark Cupid all over again, and I feel like the writers wouldn't just be so repetitive. I might be going a little crazy because none of my evidence makes sense, but in the end, we can go crazy together, I guess. Let's say Marc's episode wasn't Heartfixer. What then? What other episode could it possibly be? I did one of those color-coded graph things just like I did in my previous video, and I'll give a brief explanation on why each episode can and can't be Marc's. Episodes 1 through 16 can't be Marc's because they've already been released, and obviously none of them were his. A Very Good Night can't be Marc's episode because, as we've seen in the trailer, it's obviously Max's. The Dirtifiers is a possibility only because if Marc's parents got akumatized, that would be plural. But when I think of the Dirtifiers, it reminds me of dirt and disgustingness, and that reminds me of the Annoying Brat trio, which is Ray, Loic, and Nelson. Marc hardly knows those three, so pairing him with them would just be so odd. Fighting a family member or someone close to you would be more of a challenge, I'd say. And then for Regia Razione, I probably pronounced that wrong. When you translate it, it's Italian for regeneration, and from what I know, I don't think Marc has any Italian descent. Some other characters that do, though, are Marinette's grandma Gina and that one photographer named Vincent or whatever. Oh, I just want to clarify, I'm not talking about the one who was Revelator. I'm talking about Adrian's older photo shoot man or whatever he was. There's two Vincents, I think. For the Chain Titans, the only reason I think that would be a possibility is because of the close range between Heartfixer and the Chain Titans, but that's not even evidence, so just ignore what I said. Also, Marc's parents are more calm rather than like Titan-y. You know what, pretend that the Chain Titans is highlighted in red because I can't even back this one up. I'm pretty sure Lady Chaos isn't Marc-centered because I think I heard something saying that Scarabella was gonna be involved in this episode or something, or Ladybug was gonna get akumatized. Sad Nancy might also be Alia's episode because Anansi, Sad Nancy sound almost the exact same, other than the first few letters. I surely doubt this is the case, but maybe Sad Nancy might be someone else's episode. My only reason of this type of thinking is because remember when we thought Vampigami was Kagami's episode? It was Prem's. And then people thought Prem's episode was going to be Heartfixer, and they were wrong about that. As I said already, I doubt this is gonna happen, but this is a weird show, so anything can be a possibility. Queen of the Dread Zone might be Marc's episode only because Pierre Dublier wrote it as well. Since it's so close to the finale, I'd assume that it isn't his episode, but I mean, anything can happen. He wrote Secret Protocol too, but there's absolutely no way that his episode would be right before the finale. The same applies to Nemesis, because that's a Ladybug and Chrysalis problem, not a Rooster Bold problem. Now I'm going to go over everything that I hope will happen in Marc's episode. To start with the obvious, we need a Rooster Bold transformation. Almost every single Miracular has had their own little transformation sequence whenever Ladybug picked them. Marc is the only exception. I'm almost certain that this is gonna happen, but it better look cool. People have been waiting 2 whole seasons for this. I don't want to see Rooster Bold doing cartwheels with freaking classical music in the background, okay? I want some electric guitar music, him doing backflips or something great, something cool. Okay, so basically, I actually have something planned out, and I can imagine what it'll look like, okay? This took me 5 minutes to come up with, so listen up. First of all, Marc obviously needs to say Orico Sunrise, and then Orico goes into his thumb ring. The thumb ring changes color. After that, Marc does a really high kick and then touches his boot. The boot turns into a heel, and then that magic costume spreads all throughout his body until it reaches his hands again. When that happens, he'll cross his arms in front of his face and then pull them apart really quickly. This will reveal the mask. After the mask revelation, he will fold himself over so it looks like he's touching his toes, but he's not. He will then pull himself up to where his arms are directly above his head, and then his mohawk will appear. Add the fountain pen somewhere in there, and make sure Rooster Bold does some really cool dance moves that actually look somewhat decent. And that's the transformation I hope for. Now for the ideal villain that he gets. I believe that Rooster Bold's villain that he fights should be someone that he has a deep emotional bond with. Someone like a family member or a really close friend. Preferably Marc's mother. To me, she and Heartfixer go hand in hand together. She's kind, loving, and so supportive of her son, and her being a Heartfixer would definitely make sense for her character from what we've seen so far. Also, her taste in fashion is amazing, and I would love to see her as a villain. I just know she would eat that up. Now I'm going to switch gears to Marcaniel. I'm just going to state it right here, right now. They need to kiss. And you're probably wondering, oh wait, no, but they already kissed in Sleeping Siren in the end card. That does not count. I need their kiss animated. I don't want it to be rushed though. It should be similar to Jewelero's because it made sense, it wasn't out of place, and it was perfectly executed. On top of that, it gave Julica the courage to sing a solo in front of hundreds of people. If that isn't true love, I don't know what is. All in all, just give me a Marcaniel kiss and make it make sense. On to my next point. We need flashbacks. This can apply to any episode, any character, any time. But for Marc's episode specifically, let's just stick with him and his flashbacks. I know I've said this countless times before, but I will say it again. We, as the audience, need to know what happened in Marc's past. He went from the shyest kid in Season 2 to one of the most outgoing characters in Season 6. Where did that shyness go? Yes, when you're surrounded by the right group of people who love and care for you, that shyness can in fact go away. But something about that isn't sitting right with me. If a child has 2 outgoing parents, it is extremely likely that that outgoingness would pass down to them. Something important to note is that environment plays a key role in shaping someone's personality, so maybe there was something toxic in Marc's personality that made him shy. It is okay to be shy, by the way. I'm shy too. Bullying is an example of a toxic environment, so maybe in the past, Marc was bullied. Maybe it was for his writing because as shown in Reverser, Marc was really self-conscious about showing his work to other people. Now compare that to Season 6, writing comics and celebrating when they could get distributed everywhere. Pretty strange. I think this is going to be my final talking point, but I'm going to talk about Marinette's involvement with Marc's episode. Before we begin, I just want to clarify that I do not hate Marinette in any way. There are just a few bones that I have to pick with her right now. We are 20 episodes in, so I hope that you can comprehend that Adrian will love you no matter what. We don't need another side quest where you're sick and you're afraid that Adrian won't love you because your sneezes are loud. He loves you. He does not care. There's a very slim chance that Marc's episode is going to be Marinette problem-free, but we hope. She's the reason Marc and Nathaniel got together in the first place, so I might as well put up with it. So I'm just gonna wrap up the video here because there's not much else to talk about, but there are a few things that I want to share with you, even though you probably already know this. A Fairy Goodnight is coming out on March 21st, and Lady Chaos is coming out on March 28th. They're dubbed in English, so we don't need to read subtitles anymore. It's been over a year and we still have 10 episodes that need to release. And let's talk about the releasing order, because there's no way we're having episode 22 right after episode 17. What is this? This is the third subject change, and I'm sorry, but whenever there was a trailer posted for a new Miraculous episode, that episode would be posted soon after that trailer would drop. I don't know if it was a day or a week, it was something around that. And now I'm being told that I need to wait over a month and a half. Why? What purpose does this serve? If anything, all it's gonna do is make people mad. This is the fourth and final time that I switched topics, and my question is, why was season 6 created in the way where anyone can watch the episodes in any order that they want? Yeah, so I'm gonna watch the season finale before I watch Where Papa's. What is that mindset? At that point, just put it on shuffle mode and have a season 6 Miraculous marathon. This show is something, I will say that. Now I'm going to conclude the video here. In the end, if my prediction is right about Marc's episode being Heartfixer, you know dang well I'm gonna be going crazy. I will be crying and jumping for joy. When I first predicted it, I had no proof to back it up, it was all just intuition and a hunch. Compare that to current me. Now I have actual evidence that I can use to back up my theory. And now I'm more confident in sharing this. 7 months of thinking makes a huge difference. Alright, so now I'm gonna end the video off here. I know the Miraculous episodes are a long way away, but we can persevere and we can wait. All of you are amazing, keep it up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!